morning and happy Good Friday. This is Tampa Home Talk. We're so glad you're here. And just Leo and I kicking it for a full 2 hours this morning. What do you think about that?
I love it. This is Leo with Beryl Engineering. I'm very excited to be your host for the next 2 hours.
No Adam here this week. What was that, Pat?
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother. You're not looking forward to having just Leo? And no
comedy show coming up.
Yeah, perhaps. You know,
I'm good for ratings.
So I got to tell you something, Pat, and the rest of our listeners. So listen up. Right. You know how we've been reporting the market stats every week?
Right.
We've been chatting about this every week. Like since COVID, we've actually been looking at these numbers.
And they've been such great numbers.
Well, I have to tell you something. So remember last week we were like something was funky with the data. We're like, what is up with that?
All messed up.
Yeah, we're like, this is not right. Something happened. Our thing must have reset. So I was pulling a Leo this week and literally going crazy with the numbers, trying to make sure that we had everything all under wraps and seeing if I can figure out where the difference was in the numbers, because there was no way the market changed that quickly, especially with what we're seeing, right? Like Leo, you're still slammed with inspections and it's still busy.
No, it's very busy. And I mean, if you look at the numbers, yeah, they're still awesome numbers in all the directions we've been talking about.
So what I have to tell you and our listeners, Pat, is, you know how we were saying we were tracking like single family homes only in 3 counties, so Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough?
Right. It
turns out, as I'm diving into the numbers, we've actually been tracking everything that is on the market. Everything.
What does that mean?
That means that the
cars.
No. It means
boats, cars, golf carts. Yeah, Pat.
So the housing shortage is actually worse than what we've been reporting, because essentially, when you think about the numbers we've been pulling, which is all, so it's not just single family in 3 counties, that includes condos, villas, mobile homes, condotels, anything else extra that can show up in those numbers.
Wait, what is a condotel?
So are you being serious? Or a condotel is basically where it's like the way that not the zoning, but the way that the articles of the condominium are set up are such that it allows for short-term, very much like we're familiar with Airbnb, right? So it would totally...
There's a lot of those along the beach area.
Would totally allow that. There's a lot near the beach, that allow for short-term rentals. And you know how like most condos say, okay, you can't have tenants, right? Any short-term tenants or whatever. Condotels a lot of times limit the amount of days that the owner can actually stay in the unit. And essentially it's meant for short-term like vacation type stays.
Oh, so those actually, so it's basically
like a hotel
condo that functions as a hotel.
Sort of, yeah. Because they do have a front desk. They have like a concierge.
Is that different than like, let's say, Blue Green or Trade Winds? Or...
Yeah, it is, because you actually own it. It's not like fractional ownership of a week. You actually own the unit.
So you're buying a hotel room?
Sort of. They're usually bigger.
Okay.
So it's a condo.
So you're buying but in layperson's terms, you're buying a hotel room.
I guess if you...
It's normally one of those rooms when you go into, and there's always that big door with a lock on it. And you go, oh, I wonder what's in there, because that's the owner's property.
The owner's closet, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but no, usually, I wouldn't say hotel room. I still wouldn't, because you still own the full week. I mean, not week. It's not a week like a timeshare. You own the full unit.
I'm not trying to trip you up, Katrina. I'm not. Just trying to explain things to the listeners.
Correct. You do own the full unit, and you own that unit for its entirety all the time and its amenities. But like with any condo, there comes a lot of rules, and the particular rules of a condotel in most cases
can't stay there.
You can stay there. You just can't live there full time.
Okay.
So they usually normally they limit it to, I think, like, in Florida we see like 3 months maximum.
So what are the property management fees on something like that? It's got to be close to like 65%, right?
They vary. I don't know. I mean, because I'm not in that world, so I'm not sure. But they do vary quite a bit based on, like...
Well, let's get back to the main point. Why did those numbers all get skewed so crazy?
So we did have a reset in our MLS, and so that kind of played with the data. But what we did do was I figured out why the numbers were off or different, and then basically pulled them back in to see, okay, well, what are just the single family numbers? So I did that, and they're pretty significantly different. I mean, earlier in the week, these numbers were crazy different. But going back to the regular numbers we've been reporting, we're still down, right? So when you look at this, Leo, I mean, only 872 new listings, period. And there's 1,918 sold, and another 1813 that's gone pending. So these are pretty consistent. And then you look at single family, and the number of new listings is only 567. The number of sold properties is 1,191, and the number of pendings is 1,238. So literally, when we were looking at this earlier in the week, there was like 292 single family homes for sale in 3 counties.
Yeah, I mean, it's skewed in like the other direction.
It's insane.
It's insane. We're not getting the amount of new listings. We've been saying for a year now, we're not getting the amount of new listings we need in the area to support the pendings and solds. And now we're even further in that extreme. It seems that our market has even less new listings and even more on the pending and sold. So we're actually been much worse off if you're a potential home buyer than we were actually reporting. So
I was looking at Florida Realtors finally reported the February stats, and their absorption rate was reporting a 0.80 number of supply of homes, so under 1 month, which is what I've been saying all along. They've not yet reported that. These numbers are just getting tighter and tighter and tighter because, I mean, you look at the solds. They're just continuing to climb.
Yeah, and this is actually hurting home inspection businesses like ours, because if the buyer has to fight just to get a home under contract, they don't care what condition it's in, and it's really a shame.
Well, I had this whole conversation with a customer yesterday. I have to see if I can find his text message, and I'll read it. Maybe we come back from the break. But he was saying how basically, and he wasn't wrong, right? I wasn't disputing the fact that what he was saying was wrong. I was just trying to explain to him our market, because he's relocating from another state. And he said basically, oh, people are not taking care of their homes, and I'm looking at what they bought it for 2 or 3 years ago, and these are not. He's like basically trying to run all the numbers, and I'm like, yeah, none of that matters in this market. It's all irrelevant because it's worth what a buyer is willing to pay. And unfortunately, you're right. Some of these homes are significantly, deteriorated, not maintained, a ton of deferred maintenance, and they're still selling because there's nothing else to pick from. So
yeah,
in a normal market, that home would sit. You and I both know that.
And my least favorite client type is the out-of-state buyer who doesn't really care what condition the home is in, gets the home inspection just to have a general idea, and then starts complaining the minute they move in about all the stuff that's in the report they never read.
Yeah. Well, you definitely. That's why you pay the inspector. You're supposed to be reading the report.
Read the report. But
and I know we've had this whole conversation back and forth about how you guys would put the major items, or like either big ticket items or safety defects in red, but that freaks out a lot of buyers and a lot of realtors. I personally like it because I can skim a 100-page report really quickly to look at the big things and then realize, okay, is this a $3 part plus an electrician's time to fix it, right? Or is this something truly major that we need to go back and either renegotiate or get out of the deal?
Yeah, and then you run into those gray areas where the $3 part that takes some electrician's time to fix is a major safety defect, so it's in red, versus a hole in the roof, which is also a safety defect, which is also in red. I mean,
yeah,
we present the same information 4 or 5 different ways in the report in hopes that people read them.
Right. Well, I know you said if you had to tone down the red at some point because buyers were getting freaked out, and I can understand that, right? So you're looking at it from the buyer's perspective, and they don't see these reports every day. They don't know what a lot of this stuff means. They might as well be reading Greek.
Which is why we present it 4 or 5 different ways in the report. We give the executive summary, then we give the maintenance summary, then we give the individual defects, then we give the defects by house system.
It is repetitive.
It needs to be, because we're hoping that in one of these methods we're presenting, it sinks in.
Makes sense. Tell them what you tell them.
Yeah.
What you told them, tell them again, and recap what you told them.
And then recap weeks later. So back to the recap weeks later. One of the reasons why the numbers are now correct was because my move the week you were gone. I asked Mimi to give me an Orlando only.
So they shifted.
And
well, we changed it back.
And when she changed it back, Because she changed it incorrectly to what was correct.
Correct.
And then when she changed it back, she took it from what was incorrect to correct. So that's what shifted all the numbers.
Yeah. So I think we're going to start reporting not only single family, but single, everything available. But this is crazy. There's only 567 new homes for sale. 3 counties. We'll be back in a minute. This is Tampa Home Talk. Yay.
Well, good morning. Welcome back.
And welcome home.
And welcome. Oh, I missed it. I was so excited to say welcome back, and my arms are flailing and my fingers are dancing, and I used the wrong saying.
Getting some questions on the Facebook stream, and I just wanted to go back over that because I'm sure we probably have a listener hopping in and out of the car asking the same thing. So we're reporting numbers every Friday morning on 3 counties.
Yes.
So we go over Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough. And so the market stats we're reporting this morning are for those 3 counties. So just single family homes, only 567 new listings sold. We've had already almost 1,200, so 1,191, and then pending 1,238. So not a lot of stuff to pick from out there.
Which is more consistent with what we're actually seeing out there.
Yeah. But to think even that the total amount of properties available, period, including mobile homes and condos and villas and townhomes, it's only 872. It's still a very small number.
Yeah, which is why we don't really have our segment of... We used to have a great segment. It was like a 5 to 10 minute segment every week of these are Katrina's current listings. Now we get these are Katrina's coming soons.
We have one that hit the market yesterday. I think there's already multiple offers on it.
That's just insane.
Try to give it at least one day on the market. But I'll tell you, we did something a little bit different on this one. It was called property or prequal. So basically what we do is we front load the property with all the information, give it to the buyer, and then say, here's what we're fixing, here's what we're not, right? So on this particular one, we reverted to the 4-point, which is a good place to go. There's a couple double tap breakers on there, and the house needed a new roof. It had 1 year left of remaining life. So I talked to the seller. We're going to change those things out. But it was kind of cool just to give the buyer and the buyer's agent all that information. Here's the inspection report. Here's a municipal lien search. Here's the title search. Here's everything you need. Including a survey on this property, make an offer.
I like the fact that you said the roof is shot, needs a new roof. We're giving you a new roof. I mean, that's a huge... I mean, you think about the 3 biggest parts of a home, the most expensive, you're going to have the foundation, the roof, and the air conditioner in that order. So if you admit roof is shot, going to get new roof, now is that an insurance claim, get new roof?
No, we're going to just put a roof on before closing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shingle, tile, metal?
Shingle.
Nice.
Regular 3-dimensional shingle or architectural.
Architectural?
Yeah.
Peel and stick underlayment or?
I'm not a roofer, so I don't know. I'll leave that up to the experts.
Yeah, that is one area where it's a little bit extra. Like we're talking $15 a square, which is 100 square feet, to get the better underlayment on, which saves you a lot of money on your insurance.
I'd have to look at the invoice. I can tell you if I was the buyer, I would say, I will pay the difference for you to put that on.
That is one of the areas where I've seen sellers mess up when they're going to replace their own roof because they're not going to want to spend that extra money, but it makes a huge difference on your homeowner's insurance. And Adam, if he was here, would tell you for your insurance tip of the week that when you get a new roof, pay attention to the underlayment that you're getting, because the underlayment makes a difference on the wind mitigation report. And you want to go with the underlayment that gets you the biggest discount, because you'll more than save that money 5-fold by getting your discount on your homeowner's insurance. So that's your Adam Talley insurance tip of the week.
Yeah, so they didn't used to do that, but,
Since 2013 they've been doing it.
Well, I'm trying to think when I replaced my roof. I don't know. I'd have to look at the permit on it, but I want to say it was maybe around that time or a little before. But I told them I wanted to put the peel and stick on the whole roof.
Yeah, well.
So that's what I did.
So in recap, your Adam Talley insurance tip of the week is make sure you look at your roofer's contract and make sure they're giving you the underlayment that gets you the insurance discount. It's commonly called peel and stick.
So a couple things that I want to just touch on really quick before we roll to our guest. for the hour. According to the Tampa Bay Business Journal, they reported that Tampa housing's affordability, they're saying it's expected to improve in April. Not really sure how or what that means, but that's what they reported. So they're saying a recent report expects Tampa to become more affordable city for homeowners, and St. Pete home affordability to decline. So they're saying St. Pete's getting more and more expensive.
Well, that makes sense. It's closer to the water, so
Well, people are flocking, right? They go to the beach.
Yeah, they think they want the beach, and then they realize they don't, and they come back to Tampa.
Yep. So median household income. So they pulled this information from a bunch of different places. So median household income, sale prices to list pricing via Realty Hop. Haven't heard that data.
So I got a question for you. Does this say that these houses are becoming more affordable because we have more rich people moving here? They can afford the house better, or is it just our housing prices are going down? I don't know what that means.
Our prices are going up, so
how does something get more affordable if prices are going up?
Yeah, I agree. Our median price would have to come up, and so this is what they're saying, that the affordable index for April compiles information from the median household income census. So that so it's affordable. Census data is kind of delayed.
Yeah, so it's affordable because more rich people are moving here.
Probably. I think you may be right. Also expenses for a 30-year note, so those are way down, right? We went from like 4.5% rates to stuff in the 2s and the 3s.
I know it's before my time, but I heard stuff about in the 70s the mortgage rates were in double digits, and I can't
That's correct.
I can't fathom that.
So
that's like hard money at that point.
I can, because when I came into the business, remember I started on the mortgage side of the business. So when I came in, rates were around 12%. That was normal for like good credit money, and we were refinancing all these balloons from the 80s that were coming due, maturing, and a lot of those were 18, 19, some of them in the 20s.
I just can't fathom that. I mean, I barely remember back when you could get something called a CD, certificate of deposit, at a bank, and that was at 5 to 6%, and that was awesome. Now your CDs are what, 0.2%?
Yeah, it's not even worth tying up your cash, if you ask me. But so and so the interesting thing, as this report wraps up, Leo, it says that Tampa is supposed to be the 27th most expensive major city in the U.S. In basically next month. So rising 3 spots from number 24. So Tampa homeowners will spend about 38.89% of their income on home ownership, and it's the 3rd most expensive city in Florida. So there's a couple of these reports that ping back and forth, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa's now competing with Miami and Fort Lauderdale in a way that we don't want to be competing with Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good time to buy. I mean, if you're up for a project house, because that's a lot of the stuff on the market, it would probably be a good time to get in, because over time you got to look at inflation, right? Rates are so low right now that it makes sense to buy something, because as inflation rises, your housing prices and your rent prices will as well, because it kind of keeps up with the trends of the market. So even though, let's say you might be a break even or a little bit of a loss if you were to do a rental right now, that will balance out with time, and you'll be left with a rate low, like in the 2s or 3s, and basically a payment that you can't get anymore. So
yeah, it's amazing looking at these numbers and seeing where we're going. And then I believe I was just told that Christine is on the line.
Yes, so we are going to roll to Christine. Now, Christine, I want to make sure I have your last name correctly. Is it Law or Long?
Long. Long.
Got it. Okay.
Long.
So she's actually the Chief Programs Officer for Metropolitan Ministries Affordable Housing. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on this topic.
Oh, my pleasure.
So I would love to talk to you a little bit about, how your organization, like what you guys do for the community, and how Metropolitan plays a part in the affordable housing arena.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course, Metropolitan Ministries has been around for about 50 years, almost 50 years. And our focus has been serving the homeless population since those early years on until now. And as we have continued to support the needs of people struggling in our community, affordable housing has become more and more of an important issue.
Yeah.
And we started off, over the years, helping folks pay their rent when they've got behind. And we have, of course, seen how the availability of apartments at an affordable rate has become even more difficult. So we've started developing opportunities so that we could actually own and or sublease properties to help people that are that we serve.
So tell me more about that. You said own or sublease properties. How does that work? Like explain to me, especially in a sublease position, how does Metropolitan Ministries assist someone in the community? Just help me understand that.
Yeah, this is a little bit interesting, kind of creative approach we took a couple of years ago when we were really needing to add to the housing stock and needed to find ways to do that. We would do a bulk lease of like 10 units from a apartment complex, a landlord, and then Metropolitan Ministries would pay the rent, and we would put the families in the apartment.
So would you guys negotiate a lower amount since you're snatching up 10 properties?
We would try.
Yeah.
We weren't very successful.
It's harder and harder.
Yeah.
I know we got to go to a break here in a second, Christine, but I'm just really curious to know, like, who are some of the people that you're seeing? Because you think about homeless, but I think I would venture to say with the price of housing right now, these could very well be families and that sort of stuff that you wouldn't expect. So would like to chat a little bit more about that when we come back after the break. If you want to get some information on the current market, what to expect, what your home is worth, text value to 813-377-2775. Call or text value to 813-377-2775, and we're happy to report what your home price's value looks like. We'll be back for Tampa Home Talk in just a moment.
Welcome home.
We are back.
Yes.
And this is Tampa Home Talk. Thanks so much for joining us. If you're just now tuning in, we have Christine Long. She's the Chief Programs Officer for Metropolitan Ministries Affordable Housing, and that's exactly what we're talking about this morning in the 8 a.m. hour. So, Christine, right before the break, I kind of left off saying that we were talking about how Metropolitan Ministries will go into apartments where there's vacancies. They'll scoop up 10 properties, try to get it at a lower amount, and then sublease them out to people in need in the community. Can you chat a little bit about who some of the people are that you're seeing, especially over the last year with COVID? What type of things are you seeing? Has your demographic for the people that you serve changed any?
Okay, yeah, we have historically, we have primarily served the family population of homeless people, and I know most folks don't think about children. They don't think about single moms being homeless, but we have many, many more families that are struggling with homelessness than I'm sure many of your listeners would suspect. And oftentimes we don't see families because they're living doubled up with other people. They may be staying in hotels, living in hotels temporarily. So oftentimes you don't see them because they're not, panhandling along the streets, but they're struggling just as much. And so primarily all of the housing services that we offer are targeted towards those families. Lots of young moms, single moms with children, multiple children that are, struggling, making it day to day, find themselves in a bind and find themselves without housing. And I would say during COVID, we have definitely seen, of course, a whole new population of people who have been stable, lost their jobs, lost their housing, and are now finding themselves in a situation they never expected to find themselves in before. So many families are coming to us in need.
Yeah, it's and so what about with the people moving here from out of state? I mean, that's having an impact on the price that you can actually obtain a place for rent, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the time we're helping people find housing, or we build our own affordable housing, which we just opened up.
Yeah, is that the one on Sable Place?
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So what is Sable Place exactly? And that's your own development, right, that you guys have put in?
Correct. We developed that in partnership with Blue Sky Properties, and it's 114 units, and we actually have 79 of those units designated specifically for families moving out of homelessness. So it was a great opportunity for us to find some offer some more stock, in the affordable housing area. And right as we speak, there are families moving into the property to beautiful new apartments that are definitely affordable for them in the $500 to $800 a month range, really meeting their long-term financial stability needs.
Yeah, you guys probably have a wait list for those apartments, I would imagine.
Yes, those types of apartments, the wait list built before they were even finished, and so now it's really just going down that list. I think people could probably still apply, but there's a lengthy list.
So now, and it's completed, right? Your project development's all done.
Completed.
Where's it at? Where's it located?
So it's on the corner of Williams Road and Broadway.
Williams and Broadway. Okay.
In the Seffner area. Seffner. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now,
great location. Very convenient location for employment, of course, for transportation related to the I-75.
I have a curious question for you, Christine. I know, basically, so how does it work? Essentially, if someone, say, has lost their job due to COVID, now they're losing their place to live, how does that work with you guys? Is it a long wait to even get assistance? Do they typically live with family or someone else in between, or how does that work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we have our shelter, which is on our campus in downtown Tampa on Florida Avenue, and so we have room for 100 families there. So oftentimes families will come into the shelter while we're looking for other housing options, helping them stabilize in lots of different ways, helping their children, and then as their income and their ability to find housing increases, we help them get into apartments that they can afford in the community. So families can get served pretty quickly. I mean, when they find themselves in a bind, we immediately look at their needs, see what's available for them, and if we have some availability in our shelter, they can move in pretty quickly. And right now, we have lots of families moving out of the shelter into stable place, so there is more availability than that would typically be. It's going to be a very short-term opportunity, I'm afraid.
Yes.
Because all of that's going to fill up. But it is an opportunity right now.
I know you guys were cutting back on volunteers and that sort of stuff since COVID started, right? Is that still the case, that volunteers are limited right now?
Well, they are limited, but we need volunteers.
Got it.
We're definitely still taking volunteers. I think people aren't maybe as comfortable volunteering, so we're not getting as much interest. And there are volunteer slots available. People can go on our webpage, metromin.org, and look at the volunteer section if they're interested, because we definitely need volunteers still.
Now, I'm just curious. Have you guys ever had a family that you've assisted, maybe that didn't know you existed, or someone helped you guys get connected, where they had a temporary place to stay and you helped them get back on their feet, and now they're just a big advocate for Metropolitan Ministries and volunteering? Do you have some folks like that involved with your organization?
We definitely do. We have many families that came to us, got some help, and then are giving back. One of the main examples is a young lady we've been highlighting. Her name's Rose, and she came to us several years ago after a domestic violence situation. And, oftentimes that is a reason why young moms can fall into homelessness. And we really helped her and her daughter along the way. Since then, she has completed her nursing degree, and she's been working, of course, as a critical healthcare provider during COVID, and she has now joined our board as a member of our board.
That's great.
Board. So she is so it's just one amazing story of how families are helped and then stabilize and then start giving back, volunteering, and participating.
Metropolitan Ministries, they have a whole plan, right? So a lot of times people come in for short-term, immediate need, but then you guys have a whole plan where it's like there's a budget element built into it and like a career path, right? Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. We really want to help people design a strategy so that they can become self-sufficient, never fall into this situation again.
That's great.
One time is too many times to fall into the situation. So our case managers work hand in hand with the family to develop their own personalized self-sufficiency plan. And then we work with the family. Oftentimes that involves budgeting and finances, as well as trauma support. So people have gone through a lot, they've experienced a lot, and that trauma affects their behavior, how they're feeling, how they're doing. So we focus on the trauma. We always look at their employment, income, helping people upgrade employment opportunities or get jobs.
Now, do you have any future projects planned, being that so many of your people moved into Sable Place?
Oh, my goodness. Well, these, of course, take several years to develop. So we're looking for opportunities as they come up. We don't really have anything in the works currently right now, but we're trying to maximize what we do have with our shelter properties by shortening the length of stay, kind of intensifying the services that we're providing. And some of our apartments on campus we're actually leasing it to families at a very low monthly rate of about $250 a month.
Wow.
So we can help us. Yeah, so we can help as many families as we possibly can, as quickly as possible. And we do believe that soon we're going to really see a tsunami of need as kind of the eviction moratorium lifts.
Yes.
And folks who have been just hanging on find that they lose their housing. And so we're kind of preparing for that time to be as responsive as possible.
Well, hopefully, I mean, this market's quite a bit different, as we were reporting at the beginning part of the hour. So, you know, if they're homeowners, right, and not renters, hopefully they at least have some equity they could put towards another place, you know, so that they can get pretty much, you know, back on the mend financially.
That's true. That's true. That would be, it does sound like homeowners, there's some.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just not letting, you know, their equity get eaten up by attorney's fees. We see that happen all too often. So people get behind, they don't know what to do. They stick their head in the sand, and instead of just dealing with it, and you know, sometimes it just ends up being so big they can never get out of it. So their best option really is to sell and take their equity and, you know, figure out how to hit the reset button. But the financial education piece of it is huge. That part right there is a big, big deal. So I know that you said you still need volunteers. I would love to talk to our listeners and, you know, the folks watching on Facebook, and let us know how we can get people involved. Where do you need the most amount of help, and how can they do that?
Okay, well, we do need a lot of support just across our entire campus. Lots of different opportunities in our kitchen, in our warehouse, supporting our environmental team on our campus. And so the easiest way to do that is to go to our webpage, metropen.org, and click on the I Want to Help volunteer section, and people can see the dates, the times. It's a pretty easy process to sign up to volunteer, and we really love to have
there's a wait process, right? Because don't you guys background check the volunteers? Is there a wait process?
I don't believe so. Not for a single day volunteer.
Oh, got it.
Volunteering on a regular, ongoing basis, you know, then there's more vetting.
Okay.
But, you know, folks who are volunteering for a one-time opportunity. They don't need a background check.
And then I know you guys do a lot of stuff with food donations, right? Like, do you need any of that at this time, or just people?
We sure do. Well, we need people, but we also we are doing about 20. We are serving food throughout the entire Tampa Bay region, and our strategy really this coming year is to target the hardest hit communities. We've been looking at poverty rates, and there's about 5 zip codes in each of the 3 surrounding counties where there's a really high poverty rate. Typically, the poverty rate in the county might be 18%. These communities have 50%.
Wow.
Of children in poverty.
Wow.
So we are pinpointing and targeting those neighborhoods for food resources and other supports and resources. We're calling that Initiative Inspire Hope. So we're going to be really focusing in on those communities. And we could.
Well, Christine, thank you so much for everything that Metropolitan Ministries does for the community. And thanks for joining us. We'll be back right after this break.
Are you looking?
welcome home.
That's right. This is Tampa Home Talk, and we are glad you're here. Thanks so much for joining us on this amazing Good Friday right before Easter.
It's almost a great Friday. Pat's going straight to Vallarta's after this.
I know. And if you're listening, you may not be at work today, so thanks for listening on your non-commute home. And, I know Erin Donovan's live on our Facebook stream, and we need to talk about her House bill and her Senate bills. One of them I thought she said was passing.
Oh, boy.
So 888-404-1010, Erin. That's our on-air number. 888-404-1010, and we'll chat a little bit about that. Yeah, Metropolitan Ministry is such a great organization. They really do quite a bit for the community for a very, very long time. So a couple listings we have coming up. I know we've got one on James Court. That one is not printed here.
Yeah, I don't.
No, wait. This one's live. Actually, it's the piece of land.
Oh, live.
A
Okay,
great
so I've got
piece of land, actually.
a great piece of land in. You would give me the one that I can't pronounce the city.
Sonona Thassa.
It's 10938 Flint Estates Drive. It's 1 to 2 acres of land.
It's almost 2.
Okay, it says 1 to less than 2.
Yeah, I know. That's how the MLS reports it. But actually, this says 1.55. The owner thinks it's more 1.85, but yeah.
We recommend you get a survey.
Definitely get a survey.
But yeah, it's been on the market now for about 2 weeks. You're allowed to have pets. I like how it says you can have pets on your vacant land. And its selling price is $550,000.
Yeah, right on Lake Sonona.
Oh, it's right on the lake.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Jet ski, build yourself a pontoon dock.
Huge boat. Yeah. And then we also have one on James Court. That one just hit the market. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath pool home in Zephyr Hills for $250,000. That's the one that's going to be getting a brand new roof and the little electrical things fixed.
That's awesome. You got a seller who in this market is actually catering to the buyers, which is very rare.
And we got a couple more coming. So a little tiny one in Newport Richey. That one's crazy affordable.
Yeah, the Newport Richey one, I don't see this one as soon as it hits. It needs some work, but it's at $150,000 for a 3-2.
That's affordable housing right there.
In Magnolia Valley. This is ridiculous. I might want to just buy this as an investment property. Price is so low.
I think it's a good one. I know.
Yeah, so it's 7542 Clovis Court in Newport Richey. Again, it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Needs some work, but at $150,000,
it's going to go.
It's going to go fast.
So you can call or text if you want to get some information on some of the properties we have coming on the market. We've got several, signed a couple new ones this week. That'll be live in a couple weeks.
Got one in Riverview as well.
Yep.
This is a 2017 build. It's $190,000. It's a 2, 2, and a 1, so that makes it a townhome.
Yep.
Multi-story townhome in Summerfield Crossings Village.
Everybody loves that neighborhood.
It's a great neighborhood. This is a pretty big one. It's 1,500 square feet. Yeah, it's great. 12923 Dreamcatcher Way in Riverview.
Yep. I don't think Kim's actually staged that one yet, but she will, and we'll have her on the next hour as well.
I was going to ask if Kim was still doing staging.
She's coming. The
market is crazy.
She does a lot of it for us. But our off-air number, if you want to get access to some of these listings, if you know someone that's looking on the market and can't snap one up, we can let you know about our ones coming. And if you also want to get an idea on what your home's value is worth, just call or text value to 813-377-2775. That's our off-air number, and we'll be happy to get you the information and the resources you're looking for. 813-377-2775. And so I think we have Erin on the phone with us, don't we? Erin?
Hey, how are you guys doing? Can you hear me?
We can. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm just getting a little bit of catch-up work done here on Good Friday. Our office is technically closed, but I've snuck in to do a little work without the interruption of the normal phone calls and stuff that I usually get. So how are you guys doing?
Good. Erin Donovan with Danahy and Murray in the house, and she is our go-to partner here for Tampa Home Talk and for all things insurance. If your insurance company is making your claim a game, they can certainly help hook you up and get that fixed out. And we know from personal experience, because Erin also helped my son where the insurance company was totally making their claim a game. So talk a little bit about your bills that are on the floor, because that's really, we spent a long hour on this. So if you missed that, go check out the podcast, because this will affect not only insurance premiums, but the insurance companies are going to want you to replace your roof within 10 years. And then you're not going to be able to make a claim if there's a damage for the storm. So, Aaron, you chat about that. This is your arena. You know the bill numbers.
Sure. So the problematic bills, at least problematic if you're a homeowner, if you've purchased insurance for your property here in Florida, are House Bill 305 and Senate Bill 76. I encourage everybody that's listening this morning to contact their representative in your area and encourage them to vote no. So they're reworking the roof reimbursement schedule that we talked about during the hour that I was on, but now there's other problems with the bill. They've inserted some unfavorable things with regards to attorney's fees. There's talk of, as a roofing contractor, you can't advertise. There's even a
Wait, what do you mean?
You
As a roofing
fined.
contractor, you can't advertise. What does that mean?
Right. So the latest version of the bill has a provision in there that prohibits roofing contractors from doing things like leaving a business card on a homeowner's doorstep, and it's a problem. So what we're doing, I'm a member of the American Adjuster Association, so go to AmericanAdjusterAssociation.org, and there is a tab on there called Education. You can click on Florida Senate Bill 76. It's in the drop-down, and literally within 15 to 30 seconds, you can write your senator, write your House rep. It'll auto-populate according to your address, and you can write in and encourage your rep to vote no. Because if you have an insurance claim and this bill passes, the bill is said to go into effect on July 1st. So, it could literally affect homeowners and business owners here in the state of Florida right away.
Which is crazy.
That's why we're encouraging people to write in, tell them to vote no. And the other scary thing is, like I was just telling you, the bill keeps morphing. So they took out the roof reimbursement schedule, but now they've added this unfavorable provision with regards to roofing contracts could negatively affect public adjusters. Basically prohibits them from advertising, going to door to door, doing what they do best. So
what's the location where people should go and tell them no on House Bill 305 and Senate Bill 76? What's the site?
Yes. So go to the AmericanAdjusterAssociation.org and go to the Education tab, and then click on Florida Senate Bill 76.
I'll tell you what, why don't you push me that link, and you guys can call or text, and we'll get it to you. 813-377-2775. Call or text, and we'll give you the info for House Bill 305 and Senate Bill 76. Again, 813-377-2775. Call or text, we'll get you the info. Trust me, you want to stay tuned and pay attention to these things. That's why folks like Aaron bring it to us, and we give it to you. Thanks so much for joining us, Aaron. We'll be back for hour number 2 in just a moment. Stick around.